Once again, a happy morning, children. Welcome all for the physical science session, Unit 5, Magnetism and Electromagnetism. So, in the previous session, we discussed about the working of electric motor, and I have shown you the picture, the working of the electric motor. So, now we will see this session starts with electromagnetic induction. So, when it is shown by Oersted that magnetic field is produced around a conductor carrying current, the reverse effect was also attempted. So, always current may be reversed, right? It may, if we want, we can keep it in clockwise direction or in anti-clockwise direction. So, Michael Faraday in 1831 explained the possibility of producing an EMF, that is electromotive force or flux, across the conductor when the magnetic flux linked with the conductor is changed. So, whenever the current gets changed, that produce an magnetic flux. So, you can calculate that magnetic flux. So, for the calculation, Michael Faraday has conducted many experiments. So, below we are going to see the experiments whatever he has conducted to find the magnetic flux. So, experiment 1. In this experiment, two coils were wound on a soft ring separated from each other. The coil on the left is connected to a battery and a switch K. The diagram is given. You can go through the diagram. You can see the diagram. Figure 5.14, electromagnetic induction in a current carrying coil in the book. So, a galvanometer is attached to the coil on the right. When the switch is put on, at that instant, there is a deflection in the galvanometer. Likewise, when the switch is put off, again there is a deflection, but the opposite direction. This proves the generation of current. So, what he says, the coil is connected to a battery and the galvanometer is also attached to the coil on the right side. So, when the switch is put on, when you switch on the switch, at that instant there is a deflection in the galvanometer, and as well as when you put it off, there is again a deflection, but in the opposite direction. So, one time when you switch on, it goes towards the clockwise direction. When you switch off, it goes towards the anti-clockwise direction. So, this proves that there is a generation of current. So, see the diagram. This is how the circuit was arranged. Okay. So, there is a resistor and a key. Then you have the ammeter. Okay. For galvanometer to find the deflection of the current. So, whenever the switch is on and the switch is off, there will be a deflection in the galvanometer. So, this is the first experiment what he did. So, he found out that when the current is on, whenever the current is on or off, there is a deflection in the galvanometer. So, in the experiment 2, in this experiment, current, that is or voltage, is generated by the movement of the magnet in and out of the coil. The greater the number of turns, the higher is the voltage generated. The greater the number of turns, very important point. The greater the number of turns. So, how many number of turns you are making will produce higher voltage. Okay, so the greater the number of turns, the higher is the voltage generated. So, this is the diagram. So, electromagnetic induction by moving the magnet. So, whenever the magnet is moved inside the coil, you can see the deflection in the galvanometer. Okay. So, here large voltage is applied, here medium voltage, and here small voltage. So, according to the voltage, you can see the variation in the deflection of the galvanometer. So, this is another experiment. The next experiment 3. So, in this experiment, the magnet is stationary, but the coil is moved in and out of the magnetic field indicated by the magnetic lines of force. So, in the previous experiment, the magnet is moved, the coil is stationary. Whereas here, the magnet is kept stationary and you are moving the coil. Okay, here also current is induced. So, whatever pattern we are using, Faraday used, he can able to find out the deflection in the galvanometer. So, in whatever experiment, however change he made, he found that current is induced in all the patterns. So this is the experiment. So here the magnet is kept stationary and the coil is moved up and down here. So you can see the coil here is in upward direction, whereas here in this diagram you can see the coil in downward direction. So wherever the coil is moved, whether in upward direction or in downward direction, you can see the changes in the deflection of the galvanometers. Here it is moved this way and here the galvanometer is moved this way. So this is in the clockwise direction and here it is in the anti-clockwise direction. Okay, so this is the third experiment. So all these observations made Faraday to conclude that whenever there is a change in the magnetic flux linked with a closed circuit, an EMF is produced and the amount of EMF induced varies directly at the rate at which the flux changes. So how much amount of current is carried gets changed according to the wound of the coil. Okay, according to the wound of the coil. So this EMF is known as induced EMF, and the phenomenon of producing an induced EMF due to change in the magnetic flux linked with the closed circuit is known as electromagnetic induction. So what is electromagnetic induction? The EMF is known as induced EMF, the phenomenon of producing. A phenomenon of producing an induced EMF due to change in the magnetic flux linked with a closed circuit is known as electromagnetic induction. Okay, whenever there is a change in the induced EMF, there is a change in the magnetic flux linked with the circuit. So this is called as electromagnetic induction. Is that clear? So see the note given here. The direction of the induced current was given by Lenz's law. It was given by Lenz's law, which states that, so this is also an important law, children. Lenz's law is also an important law. It may ask in 2 marks. So what the law states that the induced EMF, induced current in the coil flows in such a direction as to oppose the change that causes it. So the direction of induced current can also be given by another rule called Fleming's right hand rule. So both these laws are very, very important. So this is Lenz's law. Okay, so we will see, already we have seen left hand rule, Fleming's left hand rule. Okay, so when you stretch the left hand, we have seen that the thumb indicates the motion of the current and the small finger indicates the current, direction of the current, and the middle finger indicates the movement of the current or the magnetic flux. Okay, so this is what Fleming's left hand rule said. So now we will discuss what Fleming's right hand is saying. Okay, so before that I will show you a picture. Wait for the picture, children. So this is Faraday's law of induction. So the magnet is moved. You can see the variation in the galvanometer. So whenever the magnet is moved in the wound of coil connected to a galvanometer, you can see the induced current passing and the galvanometer gets deflected towards clockwise and as well as anti-clockwise direction. Okay, so this is called as, this you can verify. This diagram shows you that induced current is present. Okay, whenever magnetic flux gets changed, an induced current is present in that, and this can be verified by the deflection of the galvanometer. So now we will see Fleming's right hand rule. So stretch the thumb, forefinger and middle finger of your right hand mutually perpendicular to each other. If the forefinger indicates the direction of magnetic field, the thumb indicates the direction of motion of the conductor, then the middle finger will indicate the direction of induced current. So this is called as Fleming's right hand rule. Okay, and this rule is used to generator rule, used in generator rule. So now we will see the working of the generator. Okay, so electric generator. Before that, you see the diagram here given in the book, figure 5.17, Fleming's right hand rule. So this thumb indicates, stretch your right hand, your thumb indicates the motion of the force, and small finger indicates the magnetic field, and the middle finger indicates the induced current. Okay, so this is the forefinger which indicates the magnetic field, and your middle finger indicates the induced current. Okay, so always keep this in mind so that the diagram will be easy for you and it will be easy for you to explain the law also. So now we will see working of the electric generator. Okay, so electric generator. An alternating current AC generator is shown in the figure 5.18 consists of a rotating rectangular coil ABCD called armature. Placed between the two poles of the permanent magnet, the two ends of this coil are connected to slip rings S1 and S2. Okay, you can refer the diagram side by side. Inner sides of these rings are insulated, that is, it is connected. Two conducting stationary brushes B1 and B2 are kept separately on the rings S1 and S2. So, B1 and B2 are called as brushes which are kept above S1 and S2 separately. The two rings S1 and S2 are internally attached to an axle. Okay, the S1 split rings are attached to the axle. Axle may be mechanically rotated from outside to rotate the coil inside the magnetic field. So, the axle is the moving part inside the transformer or the generator. So, other ends of two brushes are connected to the external circuit. So, now see the diagram here, AC generator. So, these are the magnets, north and south pole, and ABCD is the rectangular coil. Okay, so the slip rings are S1 and S2, and B1 or B2 are the brushes which are kept close to the slip rings, and brushes are connected to the batteries. Okay, so this is the axle. You have a straight line, right? So that is the axle. So one axle is connected to S1 and other axle is connected to the brushes. Okay, so this axle is the movable part inside the generator. So in the case 2 here, the current is flowed upwards in one direction and comes down in the other direction. Whereas in the second diagram, after the coil is rotated, you can see AB has come this side and DC is here. So now again the current moves in the upward and downward direction. So again the coil, what happens to the coil? Again it will move. Okay, so towards clockwise or anti-clockwise direction, the direction may be fixed by us by passing the current in one coil. Okay, so this is how, as such, motor we have seen, right? So the working of the motor and the generator is same. Okay, so now we will see the notes for this. When the coil is rotated, the magnetic flux linked with the coil changes. So this change in magnetic flux will lead to generator of induced current. So this magnetic flux helps to generate the induced current. So the direction of the induced current is given by Fleming's right hand rule is along ABCD in the coil, and in the outer circuit flows from B2 to B1. So during the second half of the rotation, the direction of current is along DC and BA. So the current gets reversed in the coil and in the outer circuits flown from B1 to B2. As the rotation of the coil continues, induced current in the external circuit is changing its direction for every half a rotation of the coil. So to get the current, direct current, that is DC. DC means direct current. A split ring type commutator must be used. So always to reverse the direction of the current, split ring is used. Commutator, already we have seen this in motor. So with this arrangement, one brush is at all times in contact with the arm moving up in the field, while the other is in contact with the arm moving down. Thus, a unidirectional current is produced. Okay, the direction which flows in the same direction. So, the generator is thus called a direct current. So, whenever the current flows in one direction, we call that as direct current generator. Okay, so this is how the current flows here. So, AC with the rings, alternative current with the rings, and here DC with the split rings and the commutator. Here the rings are enclosed, whereas split rings are splitted in between. Okay, so these two split rings connected to the brushes, connected with the brushes. So the circulation, the rotation of the split ring is half rotation in the direct current. The current is half rotation. Current helps the coil to rotate half of its direction, whereas in alternating current the rings are closed, so it will have a continuous rotation. That is why it is called as altered current, and here it is called as direct current. Okay, so now we will see the transformer. The transformer, what is transformer? For what purpose we are using the transformer? So transformer is a device used for converting low voltage into high voltage and high voltage into low voltage. So what is the use of transformer? It is a device used for converting low voltage into high voltage and high voltage into low voltage. It works on the principle of electromagnetic induction. What is the principle of transformer? Electromagnetic induction. It consists of primary and secondary coil insulated with each other, connected with each other. The alternating current flowing through the primary coil induces magnetic field in the iron ring. So the magnetic field of the iron ring induces a varying EMF in the secondary coil. See the diagram here. So the transformers are of two types: step up and step down transformer. Step up and step down transformer. Very important question, children. Motor, transformer, this step up and step down transformer, and electric generator. All the three questions are very, very important. And the laws, Fleming left hand rule, right hand rule, and Lenz law, these are also very, very important. So please go through all these questions and diagrams. Very, very important. You have to draw the diagram, practice the diagrams well. So now we will see step up transformer. So that is an iron core, and you have coils around the iron core. So here you have a primary coil and a secondary coil on the right side. The primary coil has 120 to 120 watts, 110 to 120 watts, whereas secondary coil has 220 to 240 volts. Okay, so this is the construction of the step up transformer. Whereas in step down transformer, same iron core is there, and here primary coil and the secondary coil, but the current is reversed. See, the primary step down transformer, so here it is converting low voltage to high voltage. Okay, here step down transformer, higher voltage is converted to lower voltage. Okay. So 220 to 240 volts gets converted to 110 to 120 volts. So we will see the step up and step down transformer here. The step up transformer, the transformer used to change a low alternating voltage to a high alternating voltage is called step up transformer. That is VS, voltage lower to higher voltage. So in VS is greater than VP. So in a step up transformer, the number of turns in the secondary coil is more than the number of turns in the primary coil. So number of turns in the secondary coil is more than the number of turns in the primary coil. So here the voltage of the secondary is greater than voltage of the primary, and here the number of coils in the secondary is greater than number of coils in the primary. So this S and P indicates secondary and primary. N indicates number of coils, okay, number of turns in the coil, whereas here S and P indicates the same secondary and primary, and V voltage. Okay, so very simple definition. So next step down transformer. So the transformer used to change high alternating voltage to a low alternating voltage is called step down transformer. That is, voltage in secondary is lesser than voltage in primary. In a step down transformer, the number of turns in the secondary coils are less than the number of turns in the primary coil. So NS is less than NP. So a step up transformer increases the voltage but it decreases the current, and vice versa. Basically, there will be a loss of energy in a transformer in the form of heat, sound, etc. So in step up, there is a loss of energy in the transformer in the form of heat and sound. So you will hear the sound whenever the transformer runs. So heat and sound, the energy gets loosed up. So the formula pertaining to the transformers are given in the equation. So very important one. Number of primary turns NP divided by NS, number of turns in the coil, and primary, which is equal to primary voltage VP divided by secondary voltage VS. A number of secondary turns NS divided by NP, and IP, that is current, primary current IP is equal to secondary current I. Yes, important formula. A transformer cannot be used with the direct current source because current in the primary coil is constant, that is DC. then there will be no change in the number of magnetic field lines linked with the secondary coil, and hence no EMF will be induced in the secondary coil. So what is said here is a transformer cannot be used with the direct current source because current in the primary coil is constant. Always we keep the primary coil value as constant, that is 220 to 240 or 110 to 120, right? So the direct current cannot be used to them. So there will be no change in the number of magnetic field lines linked with the secondary coil, and hence no EMF will be induced in the secondary coil. Okay, so now we will see the working of this transformer. So see the diagram here, the current, how the current gets flows, and you can see the wave diagram also given here. So see the arrow mark, how the current flows, and the magnetic induction that revolves around the magnet, okay, and revolve around the coil also is defined here properly. Okay, so check the diagram. This is a motion diagram, children. So all the arrow marks indicates the movement of the magnetic field as well as the movement of the current. Okay, this is for step up and step down transformer. Based on that, we will have a problem now. We will see the problem, discuss the problem. Problem 3 question. The primary coil of a transformer has 800 turns. Transformer has how many turns? Number of turns is 800. The secondary coil has 8 turns. Primary coil has 800 turns and the secondary coil has only 8 turns. It is connected to a 220 volt AC supply. What will be the output voltage? You are going to calculate the output voltage. So number of turns of the primary and secondary coil is given, and the current is also given, voltage is given. Okay, so now we will see the solution for that. The solution in a transformer. So this is the formula. ES divided by EP is equal to NS divided by NP. So ES, so you are going to find the output voltage is equal to NS divided by NP into EP. So NS is 8 turns. Number of turns in the secondary coil is 8 and number of turns in the primary coil is 800. So 8 divided by 800 into EP is the volt. Okay, in the primary coil. So primary coil you have 220 volts. So into 20 volts. So 220 divided by 100, which will give you 2.2 volts. So what will be the output voltage? 2.2 volts. Okay, very simple problem. So I want you all to do the problem as such given in the book, right? Given you have to write before start the solution. So what are all the given here? Primary coil of a transformer has 800 turns. Number of turns in the primary coil 800. The number of turns in the secondary coil 8. And the current is AC supply is 220 volts. Then write the solution. Then write the answer and box the answer with the unit. Okay, unit is very important. Unit carries marks. If there is no unit, half mark will be deducted. So keep that in mind and do the problems. Okay, the problems are compulsory in the question paper. Compulsory questions. Okay, problems are the compulsory questions but we have to attend. Rest of the questions, if you attend any other question instead of the compulsory question, no marks will be rewarded for that. So keep that in mind and do properly the problems. So applications of electromagnets. So what are the uses of electromagnets? Electromagnetism has created a great revolution in the field of engineering applications. In addition, this has caused a great impact on various fields such as medicine, industries and space. So now we will see the application speaker. How does this magnetism play an important role in the speaker? So you all know speaker, all electrical appliances has a speaker inside in TV, radio, okay. Speaker, magnets are present because magnet conducts electricity. This will help you to change the voltage of the current. Okay, so high voltage into low and low voltage into higher voltage, you can reduce the volume. So for this purpose, magnets are used inside of the electrical appliances, certain electrical appliances. So first we will see about speaker. So inside the speaker, an electromagnet is placed in front of a permanent magnet. A permanent magnet is fixed firmly in position, whereas the electromagnet is mobile. So permanent magnet is fixed in one place, whereas the electromagnet is in mobile. Mobile means it is movable. As pulses of electricity passes through the coil of the magnet, direction of the magnetic field is rapidly changed. So whenever current is passed, the magnetic field starts changing in the electromagnet. The direction of the magnetic field gets changed. So this means that it is in turn attracted to and repelled from the permanent magnet, vibrating back and forth. So this permanent magnet, okay, will produce a certain flux which helps the electromagnet to move, vibrate back and forth, so which creates a permanent magnet to vibrate. This will vibrate, so that is why when you touch the speaker you can feel the vibration of the music. Okay, so why does that happen? Because the electromagnet produces magnetic flux which gets attracted by the permanent magnet, okay, which helps the magnet to vibrate back and forth. So the electromagnet is attached to a cone made of a flexible material such as paper or plastic, which amplifies these vibrations, pumping sound waves into the surrounding air towards our ears. So you know, speaker is in the shape of a cone which helps the sound to vibrate more, which is audible to our ears. So next, in magnetic leviation trains, how does this magnetism help in magnetic trains? Magnetic leviation means maglev is a method by which an object is suspended with no supporter other than magnetic field. So only magnetic field help the train to move. So in maglev trains, two sets of magnets are used. One set to repel and push the train off the track, then the other set to move the floating train ahead at great speed without friction. So in this technology, there is no moving part. The train travels along a guideway of magnets which control the train's stability and speed using the basic principles of magnets. So this is the magnetic leviation trains. It doesn't have any movable parts inside it. It has a magnet which helps to push the train from the track, and other one helps the train to increase its speed, okay, without friction. So this is the magnetic induction helped here in the magnetic leviation trains. Then in medical system, how does this magnetism help? So nowadays electromagnetic fields play a very important key role in advanced medical equipment such as hypothermia treatments for cancer, implants, and magnetic resonance imaging, that is MRI. Sophisticated equipments working based on electromagnetism can scan even minute details of the human body. So this is the MRI scanning machine where brain tumors and cancers, everything is scanned here. MRI, okay, so MRI abbreviation is magnetic resonance imaging. Okay, MRI scanning machine. Many of the medical equipments such as scanners, X-ray equipments, and other equipments also use the principle of electromagnetism for their functioning. Is that clear, children? So these are the applications. So what are the applications we have seen now? Speaker, about magnetic leviation trains, and how does electromagnetism help in medical system. So the lesson comes to an end. You have points to remember. Go through the points to remember. You have glossaries down there. Go through the glossaries. It will give you the important meaning for the scientific words. Then we will discuss the textbook exercise now. Choose the correct answer. Which of the following converts electrical energy into mechanical energy? Motor. Which helps to convert electrical energy into mechanical energy? Motor. Transformer works on AC. Then third one, a part of AC generator that passes the current from the armature coil to the external circuit is brushes. Okay, armature coil to the external circuit is brushes. Then the fourth question, the unit of magnetic flux density. Yes, the unit of magnetic flux density is already we have discussed, isn't it, in the first session itself. Weber per meter square. So next, to fill in the blanks. Yes, a PDF will be uploaded. This is just to have a glance. We will discuss the answer. SI unit of magnetic field induction is Tesla. It is Tesla. Devices which is used to convert high alternating current or low alternating current is transformer. It is transformer. Which device is used to help convert low voltage to high or high voltage to low is transformer. Electric motor converts electrical energy into mechanical energy. A device for producing electric current is generator. To produce electric current, which is used to generator. Whenever current goes off, we on the generator, right? Big industries, food stalls, bakeries, even houses, schools will have generators to produce electric current. Whenever there is a shutdown power cut, we use generators to produce current. Okay. So next, match the following. Magnetic material. Which is the magnetic material here? Iron. Non-magnetic material, wood. Current and imagination. Current and magnetism is Oersted. Electromagnetic induction, Faraday. Then electric generator is induction. Okay. True or false? State true or false. A generator converts mechanical energy into electrical energy. True. Magnetic field line always repel each other and do not intersect. That is also true. Fleming's left hand rule is also known as dynamo rule. This is false. It is not dynamo rule. It is motor rule. It is motor rule. Motor rule. Okay. Then the speed of rotation of an electric motor can be increased by decreasing the area of the coil. This is false. It is not decreasing. It is increasing. It is increasing. Then fifth one, a transformer can step up direct current. Not at all. A transformer always produces alternating current. So this is false. Okay. Fifth one is false. Sixth one, in a step down transformer, the number of turns in primary coil is greater than that of the number of turns in the secondary coil. So this is true. The sixth one is true. Okay. So now questions you have to write in the classworks. Children, please make a note of it. Already in the first session I have said what are the questions you have to write in your classwork. Okay. So now we will discuss that whatever you have to write in the classwork. So I asked you to write the first question, state Fleming's left hand rule. Second question, define magnetic flux density. Then fifth question, state the advantages of AC over DC. Differentiate step up and step down transformer. Okay. So these are the questions I asked you to copy down in the classwork. Then answer in detail. I asked you to write first question, explain the principal construction and working of a DC motor. Then third, draw a neat diagram of an AC generator and explain its working. So you don't have any hard questions here. You don't have any problems, extra problems here in this lesson. Okay, so whatever problems given inside the book, you are going to do it well. So revise the lesson properly, children. Go through the lesson, diagrams, problems, laws, all are important. Okay. So the lesson ends up now. Have a good day, children. Thank you.